The atmosphere around the Los Angeles Dodgers feels different as the new season slowly comes into focus. With spring training approaching and the calendar inching closer to the moment when pitchers and catchers report, there's a sense that unfinished business still hangs in the air. The roster is strong, expectations are sky high, and yet there is that familiar feeling that a few important decisions could shape everything that comes next. Trade conversations have not cooled down, and inside the organization, there is clearly an understanding that the coming weeks may be just as important as anything that happens once games actually begin. The Dodgers have already taken steps that signal how serious they are about pushing forward. Adding a dominant presence at the back of the bullpen changes the entire dynamic of close games, especially after a season in which locking down late innings felt like a constant challenge. Suddenly, games that once felt shaky in the final frames now carry a sense of control and confidence. That alone raises the floor of this team, but it also sharpens the focus on other areas of the roster where upgrades or adjustments could still be made through smart trades rather than waiting for internal solutions to magically appear. As the front office looks at the big picture, the outfield naturally becomes one of the most discussed areas. There is talent there, but also uncertainty, and that is where trade rumors tend to grow louder. One name that has hovered around these conversations for a long time is Teoscar Hernandez. For months, it felt almost inevitable that he would be moved, as if his name was permanently written in pencil on the trade block. Yet as time has passed, that narrative has started to shift, and there's a growing belief that keeping him might actually be the wiser choice heading into the season. Hernandez brings something to the lineup that is difficult to replace, and that is real power that opposing pitchers must respect. Even during a season disrupted by injuries, he still managed to drive in a significant number of runs and send plenty of balls over the fence. The consistency was not always there, and his on-base numbers left room for improvement, but when he connects, the impact is undeniable. There is value in having a bat like that slotted into the order, especially when games tighten up and one swing can completely change the momentum. Defensively, the conversation becomes more complicated, and that is where doubts have lingered. His glove has never been considered elite, and there have been moments where his work in the field raised questions about long-term fit. However, roster construction is about balance, and at this stage, the Dodgers have not done enough elsewhere in the outfield to comfortably let go of a proven power source. Trading Hernandez without a clear replacement plan would create a new problem rather than solving an old one, and that reality seems to be influencing the current direction. There is also the broader context of timing. With the season so close, making a major move requires absolute confidence that it will make the team better right now, not just on paper. Hernandez is familiar with the clubhouse, understands his role, and has already delivered in high-pressure moments. That kind of reliability matters, especially for a team with championship expectations. While the long-term future may still be uncertain, there is little urgency to force a decision before the season even begins. On the other side of the spectrum, there are players whose situations feel far less stable, and Dalton Rushing is one of the most intriguing cases. His talent is not in question, but fit has become a serious issue. With established stars occupying the positions he naturally plays, carving out regular playing time has proven difficult. The idea of turning him into a versatile option who can move around the diamond sounds appealing in theory, but in practice it can place an overwhelming burden on a player who is still trying to find consistency at the major league level. For a hitter like Rushing, rhythm and repetition are crucial. Sporadic appearances and constant adjustments can stall development rather than accelerate it. While he has shown flashes of potential, there has not been enough sustained success to justify forcing him into a hybrid role just to keep him on the roster. In another organization, with a clearer path to everyday at-bats, he might be able to settle in and fully unlock his abilities. That possibility makes him an understandable trade candidate, not because of a lack of belief, but because of a mismatch between opportunity and talent. The Dodgers are in a position where maximizing value is essential. Holding on to a player without a defined role risks diminishing that value over time. If Rushing continues to sit behind established stars, his trade appeal could fade, leaving the team with fewer options down the road. Sometimes a change of scenery benefits both sides, allowing the player to grow while the organization addresses more immediate needs elsewhere on the roster. Another name that has sparked debate is Haong Kim, whose arrival came with a mix of excitement and tempered expectations. His first stretch with the team was not flawless, but there were clear signs of why the Dodgers saw value in him. He put together quality at-bats, showed an ability to make solid contact, and demonstrated versatility that managers appreciate over the course of a long season. While he may never be viewed as a cornerstone starter at one position, his adaptability gives the roster flexibility that often goes unnoticed until is suddenly needed. Kim's contributions go beyond the stat line. He brings energy, defensive reliability in multiple spots, and a willingness to do whatever is asked of him. Those traits become incredibly valuable during the grind of a full season, when injuries and slumps force teams to dig deeper into their depth. Trading a player like that would remove an important safety net, and it is difficult to see how that would benefit a team with championship ambitions. Then there is Alex Freeland, a player whose situation feels more uncertain with each passing report. His struggles at the major league level are impossible to ignore, and the limited sample size has not provided much reassurance that a breakthrough is imminent. While his glove has drawn praise and his background as a highly regarded prospect still carries weight, production at the plate remains the biggest question mark. For the Dodgers, this becomes a classic risk versus reward scenario. Continuing to invest time in Freeland could eventually pay off, but it also comes with the danger of watching his trade value decline if the struggles persist. On a roster built to win now, patience has limits, especially when opportunities are scarce. Deciding whether to move him while his name still holds appeal or to commit to a longer evaluation period is one of those choices that can quietly shape the future of the organization. As the Dodgers continue navigating these decisions, the underlying theme is urgency without panic. This is not a team searching for an identity or hoping for things to magically click. This is a roster built to contend immediately, and that reality changes how every rumor and internal discussion is framed. The margin between a great regular season and a championship run can be incredibly thin, and that is why even secondary roster spots are being evaluated with such intensity right now. One of the most interesting dynamics is how much trust the organization places in what it already has versus what could be added through a deal. There is a temptation to chase upside, especially when high-profile names become available, but there's also an understanding that chemistry and continuity matter. Players who have already experienced pressure moments with this team bring a certain level of calm that cannot be replicated overnight. That balance between improvement and disruption is at the heart of every conversation taking place behind closed doors. The bullpen situation, now strengthened, allows the Dodgers to look at games differently. Late leads no longer feel like fragile advantages that need to be protected with constant improvisation. That stability ripples through the rest of the roster, easing pressure on starters and position players alike. It also shifts attention toward run production and defensive consistency, two areas where even small upgrades can have a meaningful impact over the course of a season. In the lineup, power remains a defining trait, but contact quality and situational hitting are being scrutinized more closely than ever. The Dodgers are aware that postseason baseball often neutralizes raw power, placing a premium on disciplined at-bats and the ability to capitalize on limited opportunities. That is part of the reason why certain players are being evaluated not just on their numbers, but on how those numbers translate when the spotlight is brightest. This is where the discussion around role clarity becomes crucial. Players who know exactly what is expected of them tend to perform with greater confidence. Uncertainty can creep into a clubhouse when roles are constantly shifting, especially for younger players still trying to establish themselves. The Dodgers want depth, but they also want definition, and finding that balance has proven to be one of the trickiest challenges of roster construction. For younger talents caught between development and contention, the situation can be especially complicated. On a rebuilding team, Growing pains are tolerated and even expected. On a contender, mistakes are magnified and patience is often shorter. That reality forces difficult decisions, sometimes earlier than anyone would prefer. Trading a young player does not always reflect a lack of belief, but rather an acknowledgement of timing and opportunity. At the same time, veterans feel the pressure of expectations in a different way. With championship windows never guaranteed, every season carries added weight. Experienced players understand that these moments are precious, and that awareness often sharpens focus and accountability. The Dodgers benefit from having leaders who set that tone, reinforcing the idea that preparation now will pay dividends later. Depth across the roster remains one of the organization's greatest strengths, but depth also creates competition, and competition can lead to tough calls. When multiple players are capable of filling similar roles, the front office must decide which skill sets best complement the core of the team. Defense, versatility, and situational awareness all factor into those decisions, sometimes outweighing raw statistical output. As spring training draws closer, the evaluation process becomes more urgent. Once games begin, opportunities to experiment shrink rapidly. The coaching staff wants to enter the season with a clear plan, not a list of unresolved questions. That clarity helps players settle into routines and allows the team to build momentum rather than searching for answers on the fly. There's also an awareness that the rest of the league is watching closely. The Dodgers are always a focal point, and their moves send signals to both competitors and potential trade partners. Standing pat can be just as loud as making a splash, depending on the context. Every choice contributes to the narrative surrounding the team and influences how opponents prepare to face them. What makes this stretch particularly fascinating is that there is no obvious weakness screaming for attention. Instead, there are layers of nuance, subtle edges that can be sharpened with the right move. That kind of fine-tuning separates good teams from truly elite ones. The Dodgers are not searching for salvation, but for optimization, and that is a far more complex task. The internal confidence remains strong, rooted in talent and experience, but confidence does not eliminate the need for vigilance. Baseball has a way of humbling even the most prepared teams, and the Dodgers know that success is never guaranteed. That awareness fuels the careful, deliberate approach being taken right now, where every possibility is explored but not every temptation is followed. As a roster continues to take shape, the sense of anticipation grows. Fans can feel that something is still coming, whether it is a move that reshapes expectations or a quiet decision that stabilizes the group. The pieces are close to fitting together, and once they do, the focus will shift entirely to performance on the field, where all speculation finally gives way to results and the true story of the season begins to unfold. But before we move forward, don't forget to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest news about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the news, so drop a comment below. Shockwaves are reportedly rippling through the Los Angeles Dodgers clubhouse after a candid, almost incendiary comment allegedly made by manager Dave Roberts has surfaced in insider circles. According to sources close to the team, Roberts reportedly told staff that the organization is dealing with 2 cancers in the locker room and that he intends to eliminate both. While no official statement has confirmed these remarks, the words have already fueled speculation about internal tensions and potential shakeups within the roster. For a team that has long prided itself on a culture of cohesion and professionalism, the suggestion of toxic elements simmering beneath the surface is causing a stir. Analysts are now asking who could possibly be at the center of such a declaration. Could it be veteran players clashing with management over playing time? Or perhaps younger stars whose attitudes have ruffled feathers behind the scenes? The lack of specificity has only intensified the rumor mill, with insiders hinting that the fallout could reshape the Dodgers' approach to both lineups and locker room leadership. Roberts, known for his calm and measured demeanor, has rarely spoken so bluntly in public. This has led some commentators to speculate that the statement, if accurately reported, was directed internally, perhaps during a heated meeting or in private discussions with coaches. If true, It suggests a manager willing to confront deep-seated issues head-on rather than letting tensions fester. However, the ambiguity has left fans and pundits alike scrambling to decode what exactly he meant by eliminate. Does it imply trades, benchings, or some other form of disciplinary action? Social media has erupted with theories as followers of the Dodgers try to connect the dots. Every recent dispute, slump, or controversial incident is being scrutinized for signs of the so-called locker room cancers. Meanwhile, rival teams may be watching closely, sensing an opportunity if internal strife weakens one of baseball's perennial powerhouses. Whether Roberts follows through on his dramatic warning or whether it was simply a moment of frustration, the story has added an unexpected layer of intrigue to the Dodger season. In a league where chemistry can be as crucial as talent, one thing is clear. The eyes of the baseball world are now on Los Angeles, waiting to see if Roberts' locker room declaration signals the beginning of a major shakeup or simply a managerial warning meant to restore order. Either way, the rumor has ignited a conversation that shows no signs of fading as insiders, fans, and analysts continue to speculate about which players might be at the center of this brewing storm. That's all for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay up to date with exclusive news about the Los Angeles Dodgers, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We always appreciate your comments and feedback. See you in the next video.